You know, with the people that I've spoken to, they've been trying to hold it together, and you can tell they're trying to keep that strength because there's just so much going on. But you can see in their eyes, you can see in their hands that they are physically shaken up, whether it is their son, their daughter, their grandson, their granddaughter, their friend, their neighbor's kid that they may have met once or twice. This is an emotional time out here, and you're really seeing the entire community pull together. You're seeing the community pull together. You're seeing law enforcement from multiple agencies pull together. Again, we're talking local, state, and federal. I mean, just standing here, we're seeing Henry County Sheriff's Office. I'm seeing City of Monroe Police. I'm seeing Walton County Fire Rescue. I'm seeing GBI. We're seeing GSP. I see Gwinnett County Sheriff has set up a command center. So there's just sheriff, police, law enforcement from counties across the state coming in to help and try to hold this community together during so much devastation. Guys.
So we're in the middle of shooting videos, and today obviously something drastic happened at Apalachee High School, which is actually less than 20 minutes away from where we are, and less than 15 minutes away from where our kids actually go to school. So I wanted to get on here and at least discuss what we do know about it, and you know, get some thoughts on it, and then as well kind of predict what's going to happen next. So the first thing, what we do know about it is there were at least two shooters that had planned an attack at Apalachee High School, and there are four dead and at least 30 injured. All the other schools in the area, including our kids' school, were on soft lockdown, and they had extra police at the schools to make sure they were safe. So that was good. To our knowledge, the law enforcement, everything reacted fairly quickly, and were able to eliminate one of the threats and the other one put into custody. So with that being said, do you have anything on that?
I just, you know, I don't understand stuff like this. When it happens, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It just, innocent people, you know, defenseless innocent people. There's no rhyme or reason to why anybody would do that kind of stuff. And I guess we'll find out later some of the motives behind it. But I can't stand whenever I hear stuff like this. Like,
it pisses you off.
Sense. It makes no sense.
It makes you sad for the people who had to live through it, and it pisses you off about the shooters themselves. Nobody should ever wake up and plan on killing. That's just not a normal thought, which is why most of these shooters have some kind of mental illness. You know what I mean? They're either super depressed, high anxiety, and in today's society, so many of these individuals are put into a protected class where you know, we're not supposed to, you know, talk about them because, oh yeah, you know, they're a protected class, they high anxiety and high depression, they put them on medication, they let them go. I feel like these individuals need treatment, like real treatment, not just some pills or something. I don't know the ins and outs of these shooters, but most shooters in school, they had some kind of issues going on prior that people noticed and nobody did anything about, you know? So I think we do need a, what do you call it? Like a revamp or a restructure on mental illness in the United States and in the world, you know, and we need to stop seeing them as a protected class as to where, you know, be so sensitive towards them. We need to get them treated. You know, these individuals need treatment.
I don't know if there's any treatment in the world that can help people. I mean, I don't know anyone in the world who can fix a mind and a heart. Like, I would almost go in the direction of it. It's not just a mental illness. It's a lack of empathy, a lack of everything. There's no care or consideration in these kind of people. You know, they don't have an understanding that that's somebody's kid. You know, that's somebody's mother, father, they don't think about none of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, but something's obviously wrong. They're not processing information correctly.
Right.
Their comprehension
Yeah.
is low or something, and that's something that can be read and can be analyzed. And if those individuals are analyzed as, you know, high depression, high anxiety, and stuff like that, I feel like, and you know, this is just me talking about my generation and younger. In my generation, I'm a millennial, and when growing up in my family, you know, when we were depressed or something, it was like, hey, suck it up, get over it. And they taught us that, hey, you're not special. Everybody has these feelings. You know what I mean? And they teach you how to get over it and stuff. It's like almost everybody I know that I run into now has anxiety, depression, and they use it as a crutch. And in doing so, even when I was in the military, you know, between the years of 2012 and 2013 and 2014, they handed out stress cards to these soldiers. Well, first of all, why are they even in the freaking military if they can't handle the stress? You know what I'm saying? They're protected.
Well, yeah, they're
protecting them.
Where you give an excuse, they'll take an excuse.
Well,
that's I think more the reason. I don't think these guys are suffering from anxiety or any of that stuff. I think they're suffering from the lack of empathy. They're suffering from the lack of common decency. They don't have any. They're just they're complacent in life. They're complacent on what's right and wrong. They don't know, or they don't care to know, I guess is the thing. And I think it's a mental choice that some people make. And like I said, maybe we'll find out more about this as things unfold, and they find out the means and the motives behind things. But I don't think there's any kind of treatment to help people care. Like these people don't care.
See, but that's what frustrates me though, is somebody somewhere noticed. We're gonna get word that somebody somewhere noticed that this individual was wrong in the head. Mm-hmm. You know, and when I say wrong in the head, I'm talking like they said things, they did things, they kept to themselves and stuff. And even back in high school, like I kept to myself. Okay. You know, I had a small clique. I relied on my brothers and stuff like that. I rarely went to school. And a lot of kids would joke that, you know, if anybody comes to shoot up school, it's going to be, you know, this guy or that guy. You know what I mean? And it was always kids that I knew because we all tend to keep to ourselves. You know what I mean? But we didn't. We actually had people come and talk to us, though. I had a great teacher back in high school that always talked to me, always said I had a place to come, always, you know, anytime I felt like things were overwhelming me and stuff, I could just come and sit in her classroom. Yeah. And just sit on her couch or whatever and relax until my mind got right. And that was really important to me. I don't know, without that teacher, I don't know where I would have been in life, but she did help me get through high school, and she helped me, you know, overcome a lot of things in my younger years, which allowed me to grow so significantly and become. I was classified with ADHD when I was in high school, and you know, it's, a lot of people say they have ADHD. You know, a lot of people are medicated for ADHD. However, most people will grow out of whatever disabilities that, or I don't want to say disability.
Well, they overcome.
Yeah,
I mean, you overcome look. I'm dyslexic. A lot of people don't know it. I hide it very well because I learned to overcome my disability.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're right in a sense of there's no one there helping these kids and guiding them, and they're not founded in truth themselves, so they can't help these people guide them, or they can't guide these kids because when you give an excuse, they take an excuse, and we know that just from our day-to-day lives. We don't give excuses. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like the teacher that let me come sit in her classroom and stuff, I didn't just sit there and get out of class. Like she'd tell me like, hey, you got to get the flip out of here and stuff like that. She'd talk to me and like be like, hey, you know, blah blah blah, XYZ, and be like, why do you think you're feeling this way? You know, hey, this is a normal way. You know, don't let it overtake your entire life choices and stuff. Don't let it overtake you as a whole. You know, everybody goes through their ups and downs and stuff like that. You grow out of it. That's what puberty is. Puberty is a huge life-changing, it alters you for life. And when you come out of it into your 20s and stuff like that, you actually grow into an adult. You grow into a human that can function with other humans. You know
Hopefully,
what I mean? Normally. Yeah. But if you don't have the proper structure and you don't have the proper teachings or those people guiding you properly through high school and stuff, I think you do run into a lot more individuals in their 20s and even 30s that they just don't properly know how to function. I mean, there's kids now that don't get their license till 28, 29 years old. And that's a normal, that was like a coming of age kind of thing. You know, hell, at 15, I had my learners. 16, I was driving. Yeah. You know what I mean? I had a job. You know, I was working full time and going to school kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, and those individuals that are coddled and cradled and they don't have to work till they're out of school, or they don't get thrown into real life situations till they're, you know, graduated or in college and stuff. I think that's part of the problem. We grow up, we don't grow up quick enough anymore.
Well, we create the anxiety because you think about, you got kids that are in their late teens that are really, it's almost like there's such a hard line of becoming an adult now. Yeah. Where you have all these people in high school and stuff are telling you got to get ready for it. Or even if they used to tell us to get ready for it because things are going to change when you get out of high school. You're going to go work. You're going to do a full-time job. You know, whatever it is, you're going to pick a career path, and it is a scary time when you're coming out of high school. I think one of the shooters they said was 19, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if he was still in school or if he had already graduated. I would think he'd already graduated, but I might be wrong. But when you have that hard line where reality sets in, and you don't know where to go, what to do, how to get there, and nobody has prepared you for that, and nobody is there guiding you through that, it gets very difficult. And I think that has to do a lot with even single parent households and the fact that we're at work all the time and we don't have as much contact with our kids. That affects people too, even if you're in a 2-parent household. So I don't know, man. Like I feel like anybody who does something like this obviously is mentally ill. I'd say the same thing about anybody who stabs somebody. Obviously you're mentally ill, but at least at the time.
We watch. The problem is like the brain processing. We watch videos every day on YouTube of public freakouts, people snapping, you know, built up aggression, all this other stuff. Like they have no ventilation system and stuff, and everybody's offended by everything nowadays, you know, and so everybody's scared to talk about things. Yeah. And these are things that have to be talked about, or they will just constantly build up. And that's what's happening is like this younger generation, everybody's like, we can't offend them about this or that or blah, 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 blah. And I think that it's like, okay, so nobody talks to these kids anymore.
Yeah. I think the biggest mistake that was ever made was when they made the harassment law and they said discomfort. Because discomfort is what pushes us to become us.
Adults.
You know what I mean? Yeah, adults. I mean, nothing is comfortable. Anything that helps you grow is going to be uncomfortable. And I think that when they included that into the law, I think is where we made a huge turning point where people just started saying, well, I feel uncomfortable. I don't want to do that. This is making me feel uncomfortable, so I don't have to do that.
That goes along with what I was saying.
The anxiety.
They're cradling these people. They're putting them on a pedestal and making them a protected class, and that's not the case. Yeah. That shouldn't be how it is. They should see these things and they should talk to these individuals and not coddle them. Yeah, I think that's the problem. Now, I don't know anything about these shooters as of right now. They haven't made anything public, but we had to get on here. We had to discuss it and stuff. And the last thing I want to see come from this is politicians saying that we should ban guns, and because Georgia's a constitutional carry state now since Brian Kemp came in and made that rule, and I don't need people going around being like it's the gun's fault. He got most likely this is a mental situation. Yeah, it has nothing to do with the firearms and stuff. Now, should he have had a firearm? Probably not. But somebody should have seen that.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of firearm it was.
No matter what, they're going to say it's a weapon of war.
Oh, that's true. But I with the amount of injured people, I would say I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Glock with a switch. To be honest with you,
I think
it was two people.
Nah, it was definitely two people, and I'll bet my money they had an AR or something.
Yeah, I mean that's a possibility too.
You know, and look, we're in the South. We're in Georgia. Everybody down here, AR. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody down here, they have ARs every which way. You know,
handguns everywhere too. I mean, when there's all kinds of weapons down here, but at the same time, I think the news did a real disservice with the constitutional carry thing when they said it makes it easier for criminals to carry guns. I think they kind of put that out there in the stratosphere.
Yeah.
And now the criminals think it's okay to carry guns. You know, it's if you're a convicted felon, you still can't carry a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all there is to it.
Constitutional carry just means that like
if
you're a law-abiding citizen, you can carry a firearm and everything. It's completely legal, and you can carry it whether it's concealed or exposed. But my thing is, if the schools had more protection in place as well, I mean, they have their own division. All these schools have their own police officers assigned to it. But one police officer is not enough to cover, 1,000 students?
Yeah, I mean, some of these campuses are very big.
Yeah, some of these campuses are huge, and you're talking about one officer.
And I don't think I think that's probably a medium-sized school, to be honest with you. It's not as big as...
Say they have 600 students.
Yeah.
Staff and everything including. They have anywhere from 800 people in that freaking building or on that campus, most likely. And my thing is, like, you have one individual that's there to protect them. Yeah. That's messed up. I did like some of the schools going to the situation where some teachers that were trained and wanted to could carry.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be implemented more often, you know, in some of these schools, and rather than being, you know. But we'll have to wait and see what further information comes out about this. We just want to get on and talk about it. Emotions every which way, and that's the thing. You have emotions of, you know, fear for the children. You know, especially our kids as they came home, we had to check on them and make sure they were okay. What did they hear? And, you know, all that stuff.
I'll be honest with you. I thought the kids. I know when I talked to my daughter, she was like, "Yeah, I heard about it, and I don't understand it. Like my people do that kind of stuff, but wasn't like crying about it or nothing like that. I mean, just I think that these kids kind of know that these things happen, and I don't think it affects them as much as some people think it does.
No, yeah.
But at the same time, it's
it's tragedy. It affects
either way.
Every child and every person differently. Like I was worried, and I kept up to date on what was going on. But the girls, they were stressing. They were constantly, how are the kids? How are the kids? You know, you think the kids are okay? Do we need to go get the kids and all this stuff? No. The schools are in lockdown. They're in a soft lockdown. They have more police up there and everything now. Like, let it go. And when my kids got home, they, you know, are we going to stay home from school tomorrow? And it's like, no, they don't understand the severity of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't understand the extent of, you know, some people just lost their lives.
I think they do. But I think there's just this kind of like, it's almost, we've heard a lot about stuff like this. We've had a lot of school shootings.
They're desensitized to it.
Yeah, I think that they're just at a point now where they know that it's a real thing. And matter of fact, I think, you know, the schools train for it too. So it's one of those things where they know that it's a possibility. And I think that's a good thing because it helps them prepare mentally and emotionally and physically for these events that unfold.
Yeah.
But as far as like I don't know, as far as like how they deal with it and stuff, I didn't see like a real emotional distraught.
Yeah.
But I will say this too: when you go and you rush to the school to pick up your kids, that makes things so much worse for the police.
It does.
And that's what, you know, me and Brent understand that.
Yeah.
That's why we don't go. Like we're like, let them lock them down, let them put the police there, and then they'll let them go.
I had friends calling me saying, "Hey, go pick up your kids," and I was like, "No." I was like, "Look, I'm aware of what the school's doing. I've been getting messages and everything. The more people that flow to the school actually creates a
bigger hazard,
a more dangerous situation."
Yeah.
Especially when you don't know exactly what's going on, and there was a lot of false information going out. So I mean, my first instinct was, yeah, I want to go to school and make sure my kids are okay. But then, once you think about it, you're like, okay, no, I understand exactly what's going on. I've been communicating with them and everything. Everything's okay. I just need to, stand by.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people don't have that understanding that when you go up there and an officer has to address you and tell you that you can't go in, you just took a player off the field.
Yeah,
basically, and that, as bad as that sounds,
you're pulling that safety, that security away from the children.
Exactly, that takes his attention completely away from what he needs to be focused on. And I think that a lot of people don't understand that you have 100 parents come up and there's a police department only has 100 officers on duty.
Less than that?
Yeah, or less
Shoot,
than
these
that.
small towns out here, these are not big cities.
Right.
We don't live in big cities. We live in small towns and everything out here, outside of the, just outside of the metro area or just inside the metro area, if you want to say it that way. But these are small towns.
Yeah.
These police departments and stuff, like the GSP had to come in. Georgia State Patrol had to come in to assist and everything because they didn't have enough police officers. So now you're taking police officers from GSP, local county, local cities, and you're throwing them at these schools and everything. And if you go up there and you pull that officer out from doing his duties, I mean, you're just creating a worse situation.
Yeah.
You're creating a worse situation.
He's going to miss the person who's coming on to do harm, and that's a very good possibility. So,
but I hope everybody's kids are okay. I hope everybody's home safe, and we want to send out our prayers to those who lost loved ones today and those who are injured. I know there's quite a few that are severely injured, and so the toll may go up on one of the numbers, and we're hoping that's not the case. So we just wanted to jump on here and say something, and we hope everybody's safe out there. All right.